Jim Schultz here for Calculated Risk, and don't forget, before we get started, the best ways you can help us are by liking the video or subscribing to the channel. Either one of those guys would really help us out a lot. All right, so today we are going to talk about the strategy that you've been dying to talk about. This is the thing that gets everybody excited in a not really kind of way: the calendar spread. So the calendar spread is well suited for a situation where you don't want something that's fast moving, you don't want something that's whipping around all the time, but you want to strategically play something that isn't necessarily tied to direction. So you want to lean into time, you want to lean into volatility in a very different way than what you might be doing with, short puts or short strangles or even vertical spreads or even iron condors. And so the calendar spread is a very, very nice strategy to bring into the mix when you want to strategically diversify. So let's get into it. Okay, so how do we set up a calendar spread? Well, it's going to be in a given stock at a given strike in different expirations. So you're going to use the same side of the option market, calls or puts, you stay on that side of the market. It's the same stock, it's the same shared strike. The long and the put are going to be stacked on top of each other at that same strike. You're just spreading them out across different expirations. You're going to buy an option in the back month, the further out cycle. You're going to sell an option in the front month, the nearer term cycle. And the net result ends up being a debit trade. You're going to pay more in the back month in the option that you buy than you're going to bring in from what you collect in the front month from the option that you sell. So this is going to be a net debit trade, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because this is a defined risk strategy. What you pay for the strategy is a very good, accurate approximation of your maximum loss on that strategy. It can't be exact because you have multiple expiration cycles, but it is going to be very, very close to that level 99 times out of 100, if not 995 times out of 1,000. Okay, so what is driving the calendar spread? Well, it's going to effectively be that mismatch between the front month and the back month. Right? Remember, we're short in the front month, we're long in the back month, so very much the mullet of options strategies. We are going to be short in that front month, and the decay in that front month is going to move more rapidly than the decay in the back month. This is good for us because we're short that option, that decay benefits us, and the option that we're actually long in the back month is not going to decay as rapidly. So that mismatch works in our favor. But it's not the only source of the mismatch. We actually have a second source, a second derivative of mismatches, if you will. In the back month, the option that we bought, we are long Vega when we buy an option. We are short Vega when we sell an option. We typically like to set up calendar spreads in lower implied volatility environments, so very much as a diversification tool against the typical traditional short premium strategies that we're putting on all the time. If we are long Vega in the back month and that Vega is greater than the Vega that we're short in the front month, which is usually the case because there are more days to expiration in that back month. And by and large, generally speaking, options with more DTE that are further out in time are going to have larger Vegas than options that have fewer DTE or have shorter durations to expiration. So that long option that we're in the back that we have in the back month is going to have that stronger Vega. So if volatility does expand, we're going to get hurt in the front month, we're going to get helped in the back month. But because of that mismatch, we're going to get helped more in the back month than we are going to get hurt in the front month. So let's now hop into tastytrade and let's set one of these guys up in the real markets with real prices and a real strategy. Okay, so here I am inside of my tastytrade portfolio. This is the From Theory to Practice portfolio that I use every single day, 2:30 Eastern, only on the tastylive network. If we go to the watch lists here, if I choose my high options volume watch list, just to kind of mix it up a little bit, shock the muscle away from a tasty default, even a Tom's watch list, the artist formerly known as the creator. If we go into this watch list and we sort IV rank from low to high, then what we'll see here is we have a lot of underlyings that are on the lower end of the implied volatility spectrum. This is going to be good for us because, again, remember, a calendar spread is going to set up best when volatility is on the lower end of the range. And so the high volatility strategies, the short puts, the short strangles, the vertical spreads, the jade lizards, the short straddles, etc., that's going to be better suited for high implied volatility rank. So in that environment with that end objective, I'd be sorting from high to low in IV rank. So by sorting from low to high in IV rank, I am scanning the list of possible contenders for a calendar spread. Okay, the other thing we want to keep in mind, generally speaking, calendar spreads are going to make a whole lot more sense if you are dealing with a higher price stock. So $200, $300, $400 or more. Because if you choose a super low price stock, you know, like a GameStop, like an Open, whatever, the debit that you would pay on this calendar spread is going to be really, really low. But the problem is it's not going to have any economic significance attached to its profit potential then. Because we're typically managing calendar spreads at 10 to maybe 25% of the debit paid at the most. And so if I'm only paying 30, 40, 50 cents for a calendar spread, that's great because my maximum loss is only going to be 30, 40, 50 cents, etc. However, if I buy a calendar spread for, you know, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, now my profit potential on the strategy is a lot more economically significant. Whereas if I bought the calendar for 50 cents, I'm only looking at making, you know, 5 to 10 cents. That's just not going to make a ton of sense, pun intended, when it comes to transaction costs, commissions, fees, and all the things that we should be caring about. So when it comes to choosing a stock, right here, I kind of like United Healthcare. So if I go into United Healthcare, or excuse me, United Health Group, if I go into United Health Group at $432 a share, I go into my trade page. Again, I'm going to buy in the back month. So I'm going to buy in, let me grab my marker here. I'm going to buy in September. I'm going to sell in August. Again, I'm going to be long in the back month, short in the front month. And so when I open up these cycles, that is what I am looking to do. So if I go into September, typically with a calendar spread, it's oftentimes a very neutral strategy. So with the stock at 432, you know, we'd probably select right around this 430 strike. You can be a bit more directional with your calendar spreads, but that sounds like a separate discussion for another time, maybe a future calculated risk. So if I go into this 59-day cycle in September, I can buy the 430 strike. This is going to be the long portion of the calendar spread. I'm going to minimize September. I'm going to go into August. I am going to sell the same 430 strike. Again, it's very important that I have the same strike in both cycles. I want these guys to be stacked on top of each other, so that way I have the overlapping feature of my directional biases, being obviously short in the back month with a long put and long in the front month with a short put in terms of the direction. I want those to more or less cancel each other out. Now, when it comes to my debit paid, you can see right here, I've got about a $6.45 debit. That's going to be really nice from a profit potential standpoint, because now I'm going to be managing this guy between, let's say, 65 cents and what, $1.50 or so. So that's going to have some economic significance behind it. So it really checks a lot of boxes there. And so when it comes to the debit paid, I like the amount of the debit. The other thing that I want to be mindful of, I am already aware of the decay differences between the front and the back. I'm already aware of the Vega differences between the front and the back. The other thing I want to be mindful of here is keep in mind, in the front month, because this option is out of the money, that entire option price is extrinsic value. And so by making sure that the debit that I pay on the strategy is less than that extrinsic value, and in this case it's significantly less, I kind of shield myself in another way, because now if UNH doesn't go anywhere, I stand to make a pretty penny, because I have so much extrinsic value that's going to be bleeding off of this 430 strike that it's going to more than overwhelm and overtake this debit that I pay for the strategy at trade entry. So in other words, if time goes by over the next 31 days, and nothing really happens with UNH, we know it's going to move around, we know it's going to bounce, but just assume it ends up right back at 432. What's going to happen? Well, I will have collected this entire $12, this entire extrinsic value. It's going to go away. It's going to collapse down to zero, because it has to. Right? If the option is still out of the money, the extrinsic value will be zero at expiration. I'm still going to have a back month option, this September guy down here, that's going to be holding some amount of value. And so the mark price of the strategy is not going to be zero. It's going to be some significant number, because the back month is going to be holding so much value, even though the front month will have effectively completely gone to zero, because the extrinsic value has to be zero at expiration. So those two things, or those maybe 3 or 4 or 5 things even, in combination, are really working for my betterment in trying to turn this trade into a profitable position. So that is how you set up a calendar spread. Again, it's a really nice way to strategically diversify away from high volatility, short premium strategies into a lower volatility, long premium strategy that allows you to tap into time and volatility in a rather unique way. And I'll see you guys in the next video.